What's up? What's up? Now you know what time it is again. That's right. It's time for not a movie review, but movie recommendations. Why you're quarantining. Happy quarantining, by the way, but not really. But as you know, the cinemas and pretty much every business in America and all around the world is closed due to the coronavirus. And so I decided to make a video to do some recommendations of movies you should watch while you're at home. And these are movies that I've enjoyed over the years. I have a pretty big movie collection. And these are just a few films, or 13 to be exact, that I recommend that you watch while you're quarantining for your enjoyment. So, the first film I'm going to recommend is a Pixar film, Ratatouille. I have three actually favorite Pixar films, which is Coco, Incredibles, the first one, and Ratatouille. A reason why I like this film is just I love the concept of a rat being like a master chef. And in the film, there's this really bourgeoisie, upscale French, because it's based in it's placed the story is placed in Paris, France. So this very bourgeoisie, upscale, critical French food critic, and he goes to a restaurant in which the rat Ratatouille is cooking, and the food tastes so good it shows a flashback of him going back into his childhood. That's how great the food is. So I really like that scene in the movie and the whole concept in general. So I recommend Ratatouille. The second film I recommend is one of my favorite romantic comedies by one of my favorite movie directors in Hollywood, which is Nancy Meyers. I always describe her films as perfect, but in reality. People who are established, they raise their kids, because usually her characters are pretty much older, which I really like the fact that they are. But just going through, relationships and trying to still find love at their age, at the older age, and being established. And so, with that said, one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time is Something's Gotta Give, starring Diane Keaton and um, Jack Nicholson. So I recommend this film because it's a lot of fun. It actually inspired me to want to be a playwright because in the movie, Diane Keaton's character is a playwright, but her home in the Hamptons is placed in Hamptons. Actually, really filmed there on a soundstage, and in New York City, but just in the East Coast in general during the summer, July, and it just looks like so much fun. It just looks so fabulous and everything. I like the whole storyline. I love the fact that they're in their 50s and 60s as opposed to in their teens, 20s, and 30s. And they're figuring out love and they're falling in love all over again as if it's brand new, as if they're still young. So it's just a good film, and I recommend watching it, you guys, while you're quarantining. Uh, Another film I recommend is Shallow Hell. I'm a big fan of the Fairley Brothers films, Something About Mary with Cameron Diaz, Stuck on You with Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear, and I recommend Shallow Hal. This movie is just a lot of fun. It's heartfelt too. Gwyneth Paltrow plays the character of Rosemary, so sweet. It kind of exaggerates like the reality of being a white person, a fat person within American society, but it's done in such a fun, fluffy, lighthearted way. And Jack Nicholson is great. He plays, of course, the title character of Shallow Hal, and he's just a lot of fun. He's just like a guy's guy who says, "I like beautiful women," but needs to be taught he needs to see inner beauty sometimes too as well. But I challenge this film because even though he's hypnotized by this love guru in an elevator, because he gets stuck in an elevator, just so happened coincidentally by a love guru, and he basically hypnotizes him to see inner beauty, but inner beauty manifests to shallow Hal, obviously, as physical beauty. So I'm not seeing how he's learning a lesson when it still manifests as physical beauty. So I kind of challenge the concept, but it's still a lot of fun to watch. Another film I recommend is a great and a classic Howard the Duck that I watched growing up. Just the whole concept of a duck coming from a different galaxy and landing in Cleveland, Ohio, America, and basically meets the first human that he meets is part of a rock band played by Leah Thompson called Cherry Bomb, and they have these adventures and everything, and these dark overlords coming from another galaxy in the universe like Howard does and tries to take over the planet, but they defeated everything. It's just a lot of fun concept. And I'm a big MCU fan, and I do recommend. Of course, I have a recommendation for an MCU movie. But Howard the Duck has been showing up in a lot of MCU movies, and which makes me think that there's a future where because only one film that was made is made in like 1986, so it makes me think that in the future that there might be some other films of Howard the Duck since he's been showing up in other MCU films, and that would be fun. I would love to see that. So I recommend Howard the Duck. Another film I recommend is going into the horror genre is Wrong Turn. I remember watching this film in 2003 and just thinking this was so cool. The makeup effects of the mountain people. Essentially, basically a quick synopsis of the film as these young campers go out into these mountains and fields to go camping and mountain climbing, etc. Stuff like stuff you do basically during camping, and they meet these mountain people who have been there. They're kind of like cannibalists. It's like The Hills Have Eyes meets innocent campers. The makeup effects is done well, and they're a bunch of Jason Voorhees. They don't die. They try so many different ways to try to defeat these people, but they're not dying. And the props and the bodies of the victims that they kill look so real. It's so well done. It's creepier more than it is scary. I mean, it is scary because the way it's portrayed and it's executed, it seems like it could really happen if you go in like a remote area where it's camp and there's all these camp people, I guess, live there, or mountain people live there. It just seems like it could happen, but it's really really creepy, and the makeup effects are really really well done, and the kills are done really well, and the props are really great, and they look so lifelike. So I do recommend Wrong Turn for a bit of a horror in my collection and recommendations. So the next thing I actually recommend watching is not actually a film; it's a TV show. It has 5 seasons, and it is Living Single. Now, this is the first season. I only have the first season so far, but all 5 seasons are so funny. This TV show is just a classic to me. Starring Queen Latifah, as we all know, big star Kim Fields from Facts of Life, and Living Single Kim Coles, who plays Sinclair James, Erica Alexander, who plays Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. She's a top-notch attorney in the TV show. Then we also have Overton, the two male characters, Overton, Wilfield Jones, and then also Kyle Barker, who plays by T.C. Carson. I forget the actor who plays Overton, but his real name actually. But it's just a great time. It's a great ensemble. It's so funny. What I like about it is that even though they're in their early 20s, it's grown and sexy. It's very mature. They take their occupations very seriously. These characters are very established even for their young ages, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just about the adventures of just being single in Brooklyn, New York. Three of the ladies stay together in a brownstone that looks really nice, that's fit for three queens, three lovely ladies, young ladies, and they're just trying to find their way, trying to find love in their 20s in New York City, Brooklyn in the 90s. It's just a lot of fun. So I recommend watching all 5 seasons. So, Living Single. The next film I recommend is actually a good heist film. I think, in my opinion, one of the best Spike Lee films, if not one of the best Spike Lee films he's directed, is called Inside Man. As I just shown you, it stars Denzel Washington, Jodie Foster, and Clive Owen. Denzel Washington plays a character. He's like a lead detective in this heist that's going on with this New York City bank on Wall Street, and Jodie Foster plays the medium, kind of middleman to the upper echelon of New York City and America in general, on the Upper East Side, Upper West Side in Manhattan. And there's some secrets. One particular secret, this is a great, great twist and turning point in the plot in which they reveal what the antagonist really wants from that bank. And it's really, really well done. I really like how essentially she winks at the camera, Jodie Foster's character, and she has this smirk all the time because she's always very much in control and knows what's really going on. And Clive Owen knows what's going on, and Denzel Washington's character is trying to figure out what she does. He's a very smart cop, but they're just a little bit ahead of him, but he figures out eventually. But it's just a great, I think, a really great, like I said, I think this is one of the best Spike Lee films he's ever directed, if not the best. And I think it's just a good thriller just to check out. So, Inside Man. Another film I recommend is another horror film. Of course, you have to mix it up with the horror, the genre, the drama, sci-fi, all that stuff. Is Hellfest. I thought this film was really good because I'm a big fan of horror, and what I look for when I watch a horror film is who the killer is, of course, why they're killing, the motivation, and then how they kill. This movie shows how it's killed, but doesn't show or reveal what the motivation is and what the killer looks like. And that's why I really enjoyed this film. I think it's such a good, good little horror film that came out fall of 2011, 2018. And I love the fact that they don't reveal who it is. This could be anybody. Anybody, and it is anybody. And that's what I like about it. They don't actually reveal who it is. And I thought the kills were pretty good. I think they could have made it more realistic because Hellfest is a theme park on Halloween, during Halloween season, the month of October. That goes around in different states and different towns and camps, and people buy tickets. And so it's supposed to be a show, an attraction during Halloween. And it was a lot of people, a lot of extras in the film that were played realistically. But during the kills, it was like isolation, which of course you're gonna be isolated if you want to kill somebody. But I thought they could have filled it in a little bit better. As far as making it more realistic when they're actually in some of these attractions and some of the rides doing Hellfest. Other than that, I thought it was really well done. Tony Todd's in the film. He makes an announcement. He plays one of the characters in the film. He's always spooky. He's good at that. And I'd recommend it. I love the fact that they don't reveal what the killer motivation is and what it looks like. So I recommend Hellfest for sure. Now, another film that I recommend is part of the MCU. It's part two of a saga we just finished um, last year in 2019 that I really, really enjoyed. And this is actually my favorite part of it. There's been a big debate of what was the better film, Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame. And I actually liked Endgame the best, and here's why. Now, I'm very familiar with the comic books. I knew Thanos was going to win and actually do the snap. I was interested in how people were going to try to stop him, all the characters try to stop him, and what he's going to look like and what his backstory was, which was done remarkably well. Marvel has just been doing some great films. That's why they're so popular and that's why they make so much money. With that said, I was interested in how they were going to do the residue, the aftermath, and what that was going to look like moving forward and trying to reunite with Thanos and try to reverse the snap. I was interested in the residue of the characters, and I have to say it's done really, really well. It's so heartfelt. You feel the loss. You see the loss in this film on a grand scale, not only just around Earth, but just around the universe. Because Marvel has done really, really well with establishing and creating the universe. This affects the whole universe, and just it's done so well. What I would have recommended and would like to have seen is how it's affected. It's said in the dialogue that it's improved pollution because half the world's population is gone, and half the life too as well. But I like to see how it affected people economically, politically, even religious wise. I kind of wanted them to expand a little bit, but what they did do in the film, I really did enjoy. I enjoyed the action, the togetherness, the visual effects. It's some great, great, great goosebump comic book moments in this film, as all people around the world, billions around the world, would agree with me. So I definitely recommend Avengers Endgame. So. The next film I recommend is Titanic. Now, this is such a remarkable cinematic achievement by James Cameron. There's no mystery why he's such a great filmmaker. It really, really, really isn't. It's such a great achievement. Even 23 years later, this movie came out in December of 1997. We're in 2020. This is 23 years later, and it's such a great film. It's such a great film. It deals with patriarchy, misogyny, classism. Sorry, I thought I heard something. It deals with money, this money and everything in such a great way. And Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, it's just their chemistry is just solid. And all this going on within the midst of an accident happening. It's just so well done. It's so well done. And just the visual effects, you don't question that the Titanic really does exist and really is going on. It's such a great film, and I recommend Titanic for sure. The next film I recommend is a teen romantic comedy, which I think is a great coming of age story, which most teen romantic comedies are. And this is no exception. The Girl Next Door. I remember watching this. I was in Hawaii at the time back in 2004. And one of my favorite actors is Emil Hirsch, which he's the lead in the film. He plays a character of Matthew Kidman, who's not quite experienced and wants to expand out and felt like he hasn't really lived up to or really had a great experience while he was in high school. He's just a strict academic person. He's gotten to the college of his dreams, and now he feels like something's missing. He wanted to be more adventurous and more experienced, and he gets the experience with the girl next door being who's the same age as him or maybe a year older than him, like who's 18, 19, but is a porn star. And I think it's just such a great coming of age story of how people really just grow up. It reminds me a lot when I was in high school too, just that whole vibe and everything. And it's really just a nice coming of age story. It's funny, it's serious, it has some good like dialogue, memorable dialogue too. So I do recommend The Girl Next Door for sure. The next film I recommend is The Three Ninjas. Now I've grown up watching The Three Ninjas as a kid, and even though it's a kid film, it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. You have these three kids who are taught kung fu karate by their grandfather, who's a martial artist. They're mixed. They're like white and Asian, or white and Chinese, I believe, or Japanese. And they kick so much butt. They go into these adventures, and it's just so much fun. And it's just done in a fun way where these kids are really just kicking these adults' butts because they're highly trained and skilled. And I enjoyed it a great deal as a kid, and I enjoy it now as an adult. So I recommend Three Ninjas. And the last film I recommend is so funny. It's so scandalous. It's so provocative. It's so sexy and in your face. It's such a lot of fun. It stars Cameron Diaz, Christine Applegate, and Selma Blair as a great ensemble together, and it is the sweetest thing. I love, love, love this film. When I watched it, it was nothing but a good, good time. It's about three friends who live in San Francisco who are having fun and nothing but fun being single gals. They're established, and it's just so much fun to see these ladies come together, and their colloquialisms are classics. So I recommend checking out The Sweetest Thing. So that's what I have. That's what I recommend right now as far as movies to watch while you're quarantining. I probably will do another video about some more recommendations, but for right now, this is it. And as you know, I will be uploading videos, movie reviews, and recommendations for right now on every week. So if you like what you see and you like my videos, please subscribe.